Hey, just some guy fishing here. Today I'm going to be doing a new video showing you how to use some fly tying techniques, but I'm going to use them on a bass spinner bait. It's something I've never seen anybody else do before, but I've tried it before. I actually caught a fish. If my editing skills are up to par, which they're probably not, then you'll see a picture of a bass right here, here, somewhere in this general area, maybe. But it worked out for me, so today I'm going to show you how to tie up another one, and we'll see. I'm going to use this polar black chenille. I'm going to use some large pearl gray chenille, Palmer chenille. I'm not sure what else I'm going to put on there. Maybe just those two things. I'm going to try to keep it simple, try to keep it quick, and yeah. All right, so here we go. I've also decided I'm going to add in some of we have the end of this bulk hackle bag. It's just some black feathers. This will kind of help with the, usually you have a skirt on the spinner bait, but these will be long and trailing in the water, giving kind of the same effect. Right, so we're going to get our spinner bait into our vise. It is going to be a bit awkward. If you've never tied before, then this might be especially tough for you. You have things in the way. Before I did it, I used a clothespin just to kind of pin the blades up to help me spin around, but today I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try to tie them up with a bread tie. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Alright, so I'm going to use some black thread. This is a very heavy denier. It's probably around 200, I don't remember exactly, but it's super thick. I'm not trying to do anything fine here or trying to hide anything. So we're going to get it started just like you normally would. You're going to wrap back over your first loop and then forward so that you're secure. And cut off tag end. This is all an experiment. Fishing is an experiment, really, I think. Just winging it all the time. I tie like I cook. I use my taste buds and just go. I usually read a recipe, but then I make what I want and think to myself, oh, I think I like this, and that's what I do. I do the same thing when I'm tying flies. I gotta look at a clouser recipe. I'll start building the clouser, and all of a sudden I think, I want to do this. And so that's where I go. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is grab a couple of these feathers here. Let me get some of the... Got one long one there. I'm only going to put, I think, 4 on here. It's not going to look like a lot. It won't be a lot, but to each their own. Tie how you want. Alright, I'm going to tie one back, going back. I'm not going to be particular with these at all. I'm not even going to trim them down at all. Alright, we got one tied in. We'll come on the other side. And I'm going to try to keep them approximately the same length. So about here. Increase the tension on my bottom here a little. Let me try to put one kind of on top of the shank here. If it'll sit for me. If not, I'm just going to hold it in place and wrap. Alright, there goes my spinner. That didn't work too well for me. There you go. That works. Alright. One more feather kind of on the underneath here. That's not too low. If I was tying small bugs or something, you can really struggles. Only fly fishermen have fly fishermen struggles. It's a fact. if you were tying a small bug here or something precise, like you're going for a caddis or something, then you would be more particular about how you're putting these things on here. But that's not me. Not me today when I'm just creating something that's a bass spinner bait. And I don't think they're going to care because it's the flash that they're after. Alright, the feathers are secure. So I'm going to just cut the tips of them off. I'm going to wrap over all these with some chenille. Cut your thread. I've done it many times. Got more loops. Right, now I got these two flashes here. No, I'm sorry, not flash, chenille. But I just said flash, and now my brain says flash. And so, what are we gonna do? Crinkle flash. New age crinkle flash here. Just gonna pick off. Separate a couple of pieces here, and maybe 3 or 4. Sometimes I clip these off, sometimes I just pull them all the way through. Today I'm clipping. And I'm going to take these somewhere in the middle of them and just lay it down here and wrap over once, twice, 3 times a lady. Bring that flash around to the other side of my lure and then wrap back on it a couple times. Once, twice, 3 times my bait. Alright, we're ready for our chenille. Let's do it. Let's say I'm going to use this large Pro Gray Palmer chenille. Got this from Mossy Creek Fly Fishing. They're great guys up there. I recommend purchasing your materials from them. It's always good to buy something local, and those are good people. Tie it in, just starting in the front here. We're gonna, as the name Palmer chenille implies, I'm going to palmer it around my hook. Bring my thread forward a little. Again, I'm not looking for perfection, so I'm really just kind of go willy-nilly. Willy-nilly. Alright, now we're going to wrap around our hook with this. And meanwhile, while we're doing so, we're going to pull these back so that we really wrap around, creating kind of a skirt, but making sure that we're not trapping anything. I've never used this particular chenille before. The double band here. You stop when you think you got enough. Alright, some things are getting fluffy there. Let's bring it back. I'm liking it. I don't know about y'all, but can't see from my bag probably. I'm gonna do one more wrap and then I'm gonna tie it off. It's gonna kind of separate it down here a little bit. I could have just cut the chenille off before I started wrapping and not have this whole bag in my hand, but I never know how much I want to use, and I don't want to waste because stuff costs money. It's one thing you'll see in other videos, like the guys doing much nicer flies than I'm doing. I'm not knocking what they're doing at all. I really appreciate it, and that's where I learn my stuff. But in their videos, you don't ever see them saying that they're going to use the product later. And they're just clipping things off and throwing it away. But I'm cheap. I am cheap. Sometimes will do that. I'll clip things off first, and then I'll have all these little pieces of random stuff on my flying table. And I've even gone so far as to make what I call a trash fly. Just mixing all the things on my table into some kind of something. All right, I think that looks good. I'm gonna give some good wraps and make sure that's nice and tight there. Clip off a couple while it does. And now we're going to put our darker chenille on the same way we did that one. This is a smaller chenille. I'm going to go ahead and cut some of this one off this time because I can wrap to my heart's content. You don't have to throw it on the floor first, so that's what I did. I'm going to take off about 5 inches, 4 inches. I tell my wife it's 8. Alright, just going to grab the end here. Sorry, I got my phone next to me showing me what I'm filming, and I'm trying to show my phone what I'm looking at. It didn't work that way. Just going to tie the end in just like we did before. A couple wraps. I'm kind of pulling down a little bit to get it nice and tight. And I'm going to wrap up in front of that knot here where normally you would be tying in. And I'm just going to fill all this in with this chenille, making it kind of fluffy. Still brushing back as I go. All right, I'm going to use a tool also here. My plunger style hackle pliers. I watch a lot of tight lines fishing videos. He uses this thing all the time, and I got myself one and I love it. Okay, we're just gonna slowly wrap forward, one wrap in front of the other, coming up over this hump, and then it's gonna kind of jump forward, and that's okay. Keep pulling back as you're brushing. Now we're right behind our thread, and that's also okay, because each wrap is going to actually push our thread forward. Keep brushing back. All right, I'm running out of chenille here, so I'm going to go ahead and tie it off. 1 loop over it, 2 loops over. Pulling my thread forward so that it goes around the outer parts of the chenille, whatever you would call that. Take off my hackle pliers. I try to put everything in place on my table as I'm going, but I am horrible at that. But the better organized I am, the faster I get, because it's nice to be able to reach for things and know where they are. All right, wet my fingers a little bit. I'm just going to pull this back and go over a couple times. Wrapping back on it a little bit just to make sure it's secure. It's nice and tight. All right, I'm going to kind of do I think this is called a half hitch. It's coming up over to secure that there. Essentially, that's tying an overhand knot in my fly. I'm just going to tie my thread in so that I can cut it off. I could possibly whip finish this. I'm going to try, but I think my tool is not going to make that quite a big angle. Yeah, that's not going to work for me. I'm not good at the hand whip finish, but it's something I want to work on. It's essentially, I believe, what I'm doing right now. Yeah, you can feel that tension building up in there. Pull on that tight, and we're going to cut it off. And now we got us a bass spinnerbait that we can go fishing with. I'm going to take a little bit of my Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails and just brush that right around the front a little bit. We'll make sure those threads are secure and don't come off. And my fish attacks it. Hopefully I got a picture of that fish somewhere in this general area or earlier for you. Caught that in the Rappahannock. Also caught my first snakehead that day. Wish I had it on film. Anyway, here it is, the bass spinnerbait. You can see right now these black feathers are kind of going crazy, but in the water they're going to push back. Everything is going to push back. Normally you would have a skirt on this thing, but I like it. You can make it look however you want, and it's fun to do. So, I hope you catch a fish with it, but let's go catch one. Have a good day. Click like, subscribe, ring that bell.